If I had practiced more, I would have become a professional football player. Let's learn how to use this in this video, the third conditional. Hello everybody, welcome back to Perfect English with Alex. In this week's video, I'm teaching you how to use the third conditional in English. Conditionals talk about something that depend on something else. So it's an if conditional sentences. And I have already done videos on the first and second conditional. So if you haven't seen those, click the link here and you will be able to watch them, because the first and second conditional are easier than this one. So the first conditional is a good place to start. But this week's video is all about the third conditional. What is it? The third conditional talks about imaginary situations in the past. Things that are not real, things that didn't happen. Think back to the start of this video. If I had practiced more, I would have become a professional footballer. This is not a real situation. I didn't practice more. I'm saying if I had practiced more. I'm looking back at an imaginary situation. It's not real. I wish I had practiced more, but I didn't. So it's an imaginary situation. Some other examples could be, if you had woken up earlier, you would have been on time for work. It's an imaginary situation because you didn't wake up earlier. If the weather had been good, we would have gone to the beach. But the weather wasn't good. It's another imaginary situation. I'm looking back and wanting something to be different. I'm talking about if it was different, what would we have done? If I had met him earlier in my life, we would have been very good friends. But I didn't meet him earlier in my life. It's an imaginary situation. It's not real. I'm wishing something could be different. So all of these examples are using the third conditional. They're talking about imaginary situations in the past. So how do we make a sentence now using it? You've seen some examples. How do we make a sentence? Like with all the conditionals, there are two parts: the condition, the if, and the result. What we would do if the if were true. In this case, not imaginary. If it was real, what would have happened? So first, let's take a look at the condition. When using the third conditional, the condition is looking back in the past at an imaginary situation. So the past perfect tense is used. So there are four parts of this condition: the if, a subject, the past perfect tense, and then the rest of the statement. So there are four parts that make up the condition. If, the word if, a subject, who am I talking about? The word had, and a past participle verb. This is the past perfect tense, and the rest of what you wanted to say. So finish the sentence after your verb. And after all of that, a comma to show that the condition is over. So going back to my example from the start of the video, if I had practiced more, I would have become a professional football player. So let's just look at the condition. If I had practiced more, you can see the four parts that I spoke about before. If, the subject, if I had, and a past participle verb. If I had practiced, the rest of what I want to say, more. If I had practiced more. The four parts of this condition. So some other examples could be, if you had woken up earlier. This time the subject is you, and we're using a different past participle, woken. If the weather had been good, and if I had met him earlier in my life. All of these are third conditional conditions. They're using if, a subject, the past perfect tense, and then finishing the statement, and then a comma. So now you know how to make conditions. How about the result? So the result uses the perfect conditional tense. It might sound confusing, but it follows a very simple structure. We have a subject, then would or wouldn't, the word have, and then a past participle, and then whatever you want to say. A subject, who, would or wouldn't, the word have, a past participle verb, and then the rest of what you want to say. So back to my example again. If I had practiced more, the condition, the result, I would have become a professional footballer. I would have become a professional football player. So in the result, the second bit after the comma, you can see the parts that make the result. Subject, I. In this case, it's I would, not I wouldn't. The word have, a past participle, become, and then the rest of my statement. A professional football player. All of these bits are in this result. So let's look at some more examples from earlier in this video, the condition and the result together. If you had woken up earlier, the condition, if this were true, what would have happened? You would have been on time for work, the result. If the condition were true, you would have been on time for work. If the weather had been good, the condition, we would have gone to the beach, the result. If I had met him earlier in my life, the condition, we would have been good friends, the result. So in all of these examples, you can see the full structure of the condition and the result. If, and then a subject, had, past participle, the rest of your statement, that's the condition. A subject, would or wouldn't, the word have, a past participle again, and the rest of your sentence. You can see all of that in these examples. Okay, so now you know how to make sentences. It's time for you to practice. In your homework this week, I want you to leave some comments on this video. So I'm going to put a condition here, and you need to add the result. And I'm also going to put a result here, and you need to add a condition. So you need to complete the two sentences for me. One condition and one result. So finish this sentence. Sentence number one. If the weather had been better, what result can you put here using the third conditional? What would you have done? Finish this sentence and leave it as a comment. And part two, here is your result. I wouldn't have missed my airplane. So here is the result. You need to tell me what condition can go in front of it. How can you make this a full third conditional sentence? So complete your two sentences from here, leave them as a comment on the video, and I will help you with any changes you need to make. That is your homework. Let's get creative. Who can make the best sentence using the third conditional? Let me know in the comments. I hope you all found this video useful and learned something. Remember to please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye bye.